Yeah, sure, that's fine.
I love you.
Let me kiss you.
Love you.
Love you.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why the market's maybe gapping down just a touch in pre-market. I'm not really making too much of it, honestly, because Friday it held in there pretty well, and there are definitely names that are holding up just fine. So I'm looking at, for instance, let me just get this posted. I'm looking at something like NVIDIA, right? And that's technically sitting out at new highs in the overnight session, right? I'm looking at something like SanDisk. SanDisk continues to be super strong and gapping up. So, some names definitely better than others, but I think to just market was acting fine on Friday on that news, and it's a slight gap down of 0.6%. In fact, I prefer gap downs because if you can get a gap down and then you break through your pivot, that makes managing risk a whole lot easier versus, gapping up and then needing to chase a gap up. So tariff tweeting is back. Tariff tweeting is back. Yeah, this is officially wedding week. This is wedding week. Excited. So I won't be here for the rest of the week after today, which is good because my eyes could use a little bit of a break from screens. Yeah, I'm watching CCJ, and I would kind of like to see a little bit of a pullback. I'm not going to be buying something on the potential fifth up day in a row. I'm kind of looking for a little bit of a pivot to form here. So if we can get something like this, maybe a couple down days in a row like that, that would be the ideal scenario. I don't know how long that'll take to form, but 3, 4, 5 days, something like that. What's my thought on Hecla NEM? I mean, not bad. We're gapping up. Gold and silver appear to want to keep going. I'm not entirely sure. NEM held in there fairly well for earnings, so don't have to worry about that one too much more, and just kind of starting to build out the right-hand side of this base. AEM is a whole heck of a lot stronger, already out to new highs. So, the gold and silver space is hanging in there pretty well. I always use low of day stops. So I don't necessarily use hard stops, but Barrick, yeah, Barrick's hanging in there as well. It's going to be a good week. I do. I like VRT. The way it gapped up and is holding. We'll see if this just continue to build out, and this has got a nice 248.50 spot to deal with. There's a few of these. This CGNX is another where you get this gap up on earnings and you're just starting to tighten up. So I don't really call them that. I know my buddy Alec, he came up with the technical term for that before. That's the Street Fighter. That's the Street Fighter chart pattern. But yeah, that's just like a higher low off of like the 10 day or something, or the 5 day. Yeah, WPM. I'm not chasing these gap ups. With commodities, you want to buy them off of ascending moving averages. No, yeah, AEHR didn't suck on Friday, that's for sure. It was, terrible on Thursday. And it held, it tightened up, it built a small little shelf and took off. Transmedics. Yeah, they just have earnings tomorrow, so something you just kind of have to let go until after earnings. LAR, lithium. What is this? Lithium Argentina. This one actually has a pretty decent shelf right here too. Yeah, ODFL. Really should have actually bought this one through this pivot. 195, 196. AAON. It's fine. It's a touch illiquid for me, unfortunately, but yeah, it's fine. Moves plenty quick. I don't know what group it's in, though. AON. Building products and equipment. Yeah, that's kind of the right group right now. Tax seems like a little too choppy. Too choppy. Thoughts on Open Door? I don't really like Open Door. At least not yet. I don't know if I would short it per se, but if you could get an entry right up against the 50, then maybe. Any opinions on VRT share offering? Is that what they did? Let me look at the news. Got it. For offering debt securities. The news hasn't been dropped on it. So I would probably wait till that news hits. I don't think you necessarily have to own it. Yeah, FCX was fine. FCX I thought was good taking out Wednesday's highs. So I kind of had this as a spot on Wednesday, right in here. Right through this little shelf. Yeah, it was good. What do I think about the breakout in SNDK? The entry was a couple days ago. You either needed to buy it on Thursday or even Friday. I don't know about buying it today. Could. Maybe. I bought MU on Friday. I like the inside day that we got from MU on Thursday. It's kind of hard to get into using leverage. It would require an exceptional market, and the easiest way for me to get on leverage is the market has a correction. That will be the easiest way. I tend to not get super, super aggressive because I don't like losing money. I don't, everybody's not really like that. Everybody just wants to make a ton of money all the time. And I always try to tell people, like, you're going to make a lot of money when the market's healthy or it's coming off of a correction, right? Like just forcing yourself into the market during choppy environments, you're just going to kill yourself, especially in markets like this. Like I know people who have done huge damage to their portfolios, down 20, 30% since October. And the market's been going nowhere and a bunch of stocks have been going up. But if the market's going nowhere and you're getting chopped out and you're just giving money back, right? That's where you'd wish you'd be using small size. So it's hard to get onto leverage. The only real way that's possible is if we're coming off of a correction, then I can get myself, 30, 35% invested on a follow through day. And then from there, yeah, it can get a little easier, to potentially get on leverage. But, it's tough. It's tough. You don't even really need to get to 200% invested. It's easier when you have a smaller account, but IBRX. Did I trade something on Friday? Yeah. Yeah, I sure did. Micron. I also had ads to AVGO. SCCO, not bad. Yeah, another copper name. Probably needs another consolidation. This is exactly what it's doing right now. What do you mean needs another consolidation? It's literally doing this exact consolidation right now. You mean ready to break out of its consolidation? Maybe. Yeah, CCJ is probably my favorite. You know, they're like the most well-established big player in the space that's publicly traded. CGAU. Yeah, gold. This is too thin, right? CGAU. Yeah, 45 million bucks a day. I mean, look, it's fine. The chart pattern's fine. A lot of names look like this. A lot of names roughly look the same within that sector. Market wants to go down. I mean, I don't know what the market wants to do. It looks like there's a lot of stocks that can carry the market are trying to find their footing. Intel's one of the names I bought on Friday. I bought it at the 50-day. So I'm flat on it right now. Yeah, Ivan. A lot of the stocks that I'm in, like when you see a 4% or 4 to 9% winner, it's not actually huge size. What ends up happening is if I add to the position and I take a loss on it, it calculates the percentage on all of the total shares sold. So like if I take a loss on some shares, that basically goes against the winning shares that I had. So try not to think about that too much. Yeah, I don't think about that percentage too much, because there are names that I actually end up doing really well on, and it's not that I had some like insane size. It's just that I took a lot of small little paper cuts trying to add to the position. So yeah, exactly. If I try to pyramid into the position and I end up taking a little loss on those shares, but I kept the loss super manageable, but I keep shares from earlier, then it affects the percent that I sold every share for, including those winning shares. So, yeah, I don't really love the way it's calculated, but for a $1 million account, what percent position size? I mean, 10 to 15%, 100 to 150K positions is like a sweet spot, I think. Right? Because, you'll still have like 200 or $2 million in overnight buying power. So, unless you want to own 30 stocks, right? Then, right, that or add to your winners, right? But then how do you add to your winners? Imagine if you didn't own it and you were just looking to add to the position from another clean setup. Yeah, FCX I thought was buyable over Wednesday's high. No, I never added size. So Netflix I added twice. So my initial short was the 19th, around 112. And then my second short added was on the Monday, the 1st of December. And that was it. Ooh, between January 6th and February 2nd? No, SNDK, I thought the best entry was here, January 2nd, and then maybe January 6th. If you wanted to like sneak yourself in, this pullback against the 5-day, I don't love it as much, but this breakout on January 2nd. Yeah, SECO, if we can get an inside day, that would be sweet. An inside day would be nice. Copper is slightly down today too. How would I position size with a 2K account? $400 positions, $300. I wouldn't really do too much different. The goal, no matter how big or small your portfolio is not losing the portfolio. So position sizing properly, using progressive exposure. Riot's ugly. This chart's ugly still. But yeah, I wouldn't do anything differently, no matter how big or small the portfolio was. Same thing. What did I learn from Pradeep? Momentum burst. Momentum burst. When you buy a stock coming out of a tight area, you get a 3 to 5 day move, and then you trim off into that momentum burst, and then you trail the rest of the position. That's it. Yes, I do. Do I increase position size for low ADR stocks? Yes. I'll get something like 20%. MBIS, way too volatile here, needs to tighten up. Too much volatility. AA is fine. AA still looks really good. I mean, it's holding in there really well. Bloom Energy, yeah. Ideally, this thing could, build out a little bit more and start to come back around. A move over 160. Spot number 2 is maybe against the 50 days. The 50 begins to catch up. STX, it's in the same group as WDC and MU and SNDK. My focus is on MU. I'm personally leaving STX alone. I don't really like the way the thing trades intraday, so just going to kind of leave it alone. Spread's usually kind of ugly. And yeah, XLV, this is kind of interesting. Keep your eyes on Lilly. I do. I like SLB as well. I like SLB. I like HAL if the energy sector continues to hold up. So SLB. HUT, MBIS, and APLD, the best of them all. APLD doesn't look that great right now. APLD looks kind of broken here. I don't know. I could be wrong, but doesn't look that good. Ever since NVIDIA got rid of their position in APLD, it's been worse. We were already going down, and then all of a sudden, the bid just kind of fell out. MBIS a little too volatile. HUT, yeah, HUT may be the best of the bunch, and then Wolf is the other. For now. Do I consider trading earnings with gap ups or gap downs versus moving? I prefer gap ups if I want to go long. I prefer gap downs if I want to short. Thoughts on Microsoft? It's gotten super beaten up. I'm not looking to short it. That's not to say it can't go lower, but I wouldn't necessarily be looking to short it. Really nothing to do with it. If it can start to hold up well, then I'd like to buy the IGV. I'll keep my eyes on that and CRM and Oracle, but have I exit XOM? Why would I do that? We're still above a rising 20. So maybe below the 20, I'll take another little piece off, but my ultimate goal is to hold it on this rising 50. So, and I still have VLO, which I bought on the 3rd. So, yeah, no, I haven't left XOM. I've trimmed XOM. I trimmed XOM all the way up. In fact, my biggest trim was when we were 11 times its ATR from the 50, literally on the high day so far. PL needs more time? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. We'll find out. We'll find out later today if this gap down doesn't get bought up. Yeah, Oxy's another interesting one. This one was on last night's Watchlist video. I'm kind of hoping that it just can chop around here, and then I'll be watching it against that 5150 level. TTD, you might as well throw that in the trash. I'm not even going to pull that chart up because I know what it looks like. It's absolutely horrible. No reason for anybody to be considering that stock. Not even long or short. Short, it's already gotten murdered. On the long side, it looks absolutely horrible. And it could be bottoming soon. I don't know, but it looks horrible. What's the MB setup? I don't know what the MB setup is. Yeah, I like taking profits through day 3 or 5 if we can get a momentum burst. Yeah, that allows me to kind of just damper the volatility after a move up, pay myself for that expansion, and then just trail the stock after the fact, comfortably, knowing that, worst case scenario, I've made a little bit of money on the stock. Do I think there is value in going through the Russell 3000 or something over the weekend for those who aren't able to sit at the desk during market? Why would somebody need to go over the Russell 3000 as like a good way to do anything? You just build some scanners. Build some scanners, and then that should pull up where money's going. Look where momentum is at, and then figure out what sectors that momentum is in. And you don't need to go to the Russell 3000 to figure that out. Seems like a terrible way to spend 30, 40 minutes of your life. What about the miner name setting up? Are we talking about the metals? CSX. This is a train name, right? CSX Corp. There's no setup here, though. It's just going straight up. Yeah, VRT somebody mentioned, and I just looked. They do have an offering coming. I don't really think there's a ton to do there. Thoughts on LAC? There are better lithium names than LAC. That's my thought on LAC. If you want to play lithium, there are better. Yeah, AVGO is kind of a bumpy ride. Yeah. Well, that's also because it's still above the 200, and this name historically has found support at the rising 200. So we'll see if if the market rolls over. I believe this one rolls over. If it doesn't, then I don't know. Have I always traded with the same great discipline, or did you do anything to help your discipline? Yeah, I've taken ugly losses before, and I realized that I wanted to make trading a career. If you want to make trading a career, then you need to be disciplined. Otherwise, there is no room to call this a career if you're not disciplined. Your boss, the market, will fire you. Lynn, there's nothing to do with this. It's just going straight up. Where's the setup? Where's the setup? BVN? Yeah, no, this is a tight little consolidation. I don't know about chasing these gap ups, though, but yeah, these mining companies, they continue to hold in there pretty well. But I am not about the idea of chasing any gap ups, especially with commodities. And that could mean that I end up missing the move. But that could also mean that, I save myself some headache. So the best place to have gotten involved in, like, let's say silver was against the 50 a few days ago. If you really wanted it, you should have showed up on Tuesday to buy it. Right? And then like somebody be like, well, where, Ariel? Well, we talk about this all the time. Look at the 620 setup. Right down here. There's nothing too difficult if you're paying attention to it of buying it right there with your stop at low of day. I mean, we're literally talking 1.8%, 1.9% risk, call it even 2%, right? And then now all of a sudden, what's your reward for being patient? Right? You're playing a bounce off the 50-day. Well, now you're up 8-1 on your money. If you play this as an opening range break, you're still trading it within this range. You can, but I don't know. If you're going to play anything like NEM today, make sure you've got your eyes on gold. Costco, maybe a higher low off the 20. It's about as good as it would be. And then keep your eyes on the XLP and other, names within its group, kind of like a Walmart. No. I would personally leave this alone. I mean, look at what this thing did on Friday. It rejected from the declining 50, and we have seen this now before. And then now it's gapping down. So unless it can get back above the 50, there's no reason to really even want to long that name. Yeah, Fernando, part of it is because I'm just looking at charts all day long, and I'm scanning all day long, and I'm trading all day, and I'm scanning some more in the evening. So yeah, it's like I've got kind of like a not really like a photographic memory, but like a strong memory for charts because I just look at them so often. So when somebody asks about them, I've already seen them at, most of the times, not always, but yeah, I see. I don't even want to call it overdone, but yeah, to get sold off like that with cybersecurity names on that news, again, overdone. Yeah, I don't know. Is it? I have no idea. The problem is who cares if it's overdone? These things are in clear downtrends. How long this downtrend lasts for, none of us know. Right? Like look at something like DEC, right? When it just lost its 200, did it look overdone in here? It already looked overdone in here. And then what happened? It got more overdone. And then what happened? It eventually, went lower. So or a name like TTD. I'm not trying to compare like PanW to TTD, but didn't it look overdone in here when it lost its 200? And then what happened? It just kept getting more overdone. So it's hard to answer that question for you when something's literally living below the 200 simple moving average. I don't know. I don't know what overdone looks like at this point. What I do know is institutions aren't trying to buy it yet, and that's the most important part. That's a good question. You don't really know. You're just trying to gauge two things. One, if and when a stock gets to that, let's say the rising 50-day, what's the group acting like at that point, and what's the market like acting at that point, or the rising 20-day, what's the group acting like? Like one of the easiest ways to remember this is stocks move together. So if you're looking at like, let's say iron, right, for instance, and it's running into a declining 50-day, and you're like, ooh, I want to short this thing. But Cypher's acting well, Wolf is acting well, and you just kind of go down the list, and these things are all acting well, like within the same group, NBIS and CoreWeave, et cetera, then you just probably know that maybe that short there's not going to work. The group is too strong. But if the whole group is starting to like roll over and the WGMI ETF is rolling over and the QQQ maybe might be rolling over, you're like kind of stacking the deck in your favor. And then you get like a 5-minute chart set up where you're like looking for your 620 in that area. And then that starts to roll over. All of a sudden, you're like, now I've stacked the deck in your favor. So whether you're trying to buy something or sell something, focusing on the group, stocks within the group, and then your technical setup and where it triggers, right? And then still, you'll be wrong 60% of the time, even when you do all that right. But the reality is if you then let your winner work for you and you cut your losers quickly, it doesn't end up mattering. Like it doesn't matter that you're wrong 60% of the time. So it's just being patient when you are right and then just letting that trade work for you. Pete, that's not how the moving averages work. The 6 will always cross back over the 20. A 20 SMA moving average UNR? No, I wouldn't buy it today. I would literally wait for it to come down a couple days and then turn back up. I like KLAC. I like KLAC. I like LRCX. KORU, what is this? The leveraged? Yeah. Yeah, it's up there. It's getting a little wild. It's getting a little wild. I recently shorted MU. Yeah, but then the price chart got a whole lot cleaner. So in here, I thought we were very extended from the 50. And then it broke down. I shorted this 407. Okay, fine. Then I ended up eventually getting stopped out of this MU, and all it really did was build another higher low and then got super tight, right? That's going to, kind of change my tune because we're no longer extended from the 50. Now, I don't know if this is going to break down or not end up working, but for now, it did everything it's supposed to show you that it might be trying to go higher. And I try to not keep too much of a bias on whether something can go higher or lower. Shipping stocks are ripping. Yeah, I've been watching those for like a month now, and I can't find a way in. On the bounce long on the 50 SMA and SILJ, what is the argument to take it? How do you know to take that bounce on SILJ and not the other 50 SMA bounce long and not any other? Well, with SILJ, when something's in an uptrend, playing it off of the 50 simple moving average is where you want to get long. But again, it goes back to what I told you. What other stocks within the silver space were finding support against the rising 50 simple moving average? Were you able to find any? Right? So, AU, now this is a gold stock. AG's another, right, where it just builds the higher low. So this one didn't even get down to the 50, but the setup is effectively identical. When right at the same time it's pulling back, it's building a higher low, and then it's starting to bounce in its own right. So again, it goes always back to what I told you. When you're looking to execute on an SILJ, what's the evidence there from the group that these stocks are trying to bounce higher? If you have any focus on silver, then you're looking at silver, you're looking at the junior miners, and then you're looking at a couple individual stocks as well. Yeah, I think Alcoa is fine. At least for now. It looks okay to me. Slight gap down right now, but I don't think it's that big a deal. Yeah, BTU. Man, BTU is just a little too thin for me to play in here, but I thought this was pretty nice. Yeah, BTU, not bad. Yeah, no, there's no setup on rig, right? What about rig, right? Where would you buy this thing? You really, you're going to show up and buy it when it's this extended from the 50, 7.5 times its ATR from the 50. If you really wanted rig, you would have had to have bought it, going through this pivot on the 21st of January, or, maybe out of this little consolidation. Who knows? One of these 2 days. But up here, not a whole lot going on with it. USFD a few weeks ago, that was like the best acting name in the market, man, on this day. Yeah, it's getting super tight. Yeah, these construction stocks, construction and engineering. Yep. Could be. Recent nice bounce back on earnings. So I don't know. You could. This has been in a pretty strong uptrend, though. I don't know. Maybe. let's see what other names are in eBay's group. Amazon, Baba, Etsy, Shopify, JD, Melly, PDD. I would focus on a few of those names as well. If like a Shopify and Etsy aren't acting all that well, or Amazon, then yeah, maybe. Amazon had a hell of a day on Friday as well, and clearly so did eBay. So I think that matters. RNG. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. Oh man, this Ring Central looks absolutely very rough. THR. Too thin, maybe? Yeah, too thin. 20 million bucks a day. Yeah, a little too thin. Specialty industrial machinery. I mean, in the right group though. EME, JCI. No wonder this thing looks so good. Yeah, these stocks are on fire. Nah, AVAV, nothing really there. Which theme is most strong? It looks like it's still memory names, right? I think that's fair to say. Semiconductors is pretty dang good. If we're talking about like over 1 week, silver metals, marine shipping, right? I would think that those are the strongest. If we're talking about over the last month, oil and gas, right? Farm equipment, John Deere has been super helpful. Optics have been really good. Yep, marine shipping again, still kind of in that list. Some semiconductor equipment's not too bad. HL's looking decent. Yeah, it's it's good but not great. I don't mind this consolidation. HL's not too thin. HL trades $700 million a day. What do we mean by too thin? Too thin for me is sub 100 million. 700 million is way more than enough. Yeah, optics are strong. Yeah. The problem is the group is kind of small. Yeah, fix. Big base, big move. Yeah, I thought this one was better down here out of this base. A little sloppy, though. Got a little tough to trade. What about nuclear? I like CCJ. Why are they so weak? What do you mean, why are they so weak? These things have been like super strong. They've been super, super strong. And this is just another pullback into the 50. It's like in here, right? It's not they're that weak. They're pulling back. They're trying to build out, another new little base, and then they're trying to go, right? They pull back and they're trying to build out another new base, and then, hopefully they'll go. I don't want to call them too weak. Rocket Lab, SATS, yeah. I mean, they kind of had an ugly down day on Friday. That's not the prettiest, right? You get run up 3 days in a row, right into the declining 20, and then you reject like this, and now you gap down. I want to be a little bit cautious before I get aggressive on any of this stuff because, you saw what happened to AppLovin, right? You run up a few days in a row, right into the declining 20. Then all of a sudden you have an ugly down day, and then things, the wheels just come off, right? I'm not predicting that that's what's going to happen to Rocket Lab, but you make a move down, you rally into the 20, and then the wheels come off. And the same thing can happen to this, Rocket Lab. You're living below, you make a down move, you rally back into the 20, and then you have an ugly down day, and now you're gapping down. You just don't know. So you just don't know. I'll be gone a week, by the way. I'll be gone a week. If SQQQ or if SPY and QQQ and general market conditions were horrible, what would ever stop me from trading a hot sector? Nothing. Yeah, nothing. The QQQ could be horrible, but that wouldn't stop me from trading like oil and gas stocks if that's what's going up. Oklo and LEU, these stocks are horrible. In particular, Oklo. This name is just horrible. I wish I still had my short from 146 bucks. $61 right now. Holy cow, this thing has gotten bad. Yeah, LEU. Look, if you're living below the 200 simple moving average and a falling 50, for me, they're just pass. Right? You just got to pass. Am I going to do recaps? No, I don't know about that. I think the wife might kill me. PBA. Is this extended from the 50? Yeah, just a touch. A little more consolidation up here would be good. Also, this one also looks a bit thin. 66 million bucks, not terrible, but not great. Would I have played? No, I'm not buying initial gap ups in this market. Right? Too many initial gap ups have gotten sold off super, super hard. I kind of prefer to play them as like follow through setups. So like a high volume close. Yeah, exactly. If you guys want recaps of the market, yeah, Nick's recaps are great. Nick Drendel. He does full recaps as well. That's a good call, Fox. That's a good call. He'll have recaps until Wednesday, and then on Thursday, Friday, he'll be at the wedding as well. What do I think about Goro? Too thin. Too thin. I mean, look at this volatility. You ever really want to be a part of this thing where it moves 50% in a day? You're not concerned that SPY QQQ weakness will eventually bring that hot sector down with it? So I'm supposed to be worried that QQQ going down brings down oil and gas stocks? Under what what planet does that make sense? Right? I'm not worried about QQQ weakness if the XLE is going up. I mean, could XLE just happen to be coming down at the same time QQQ is, and then it maybe looks like it brought it down? Yeah, but they don't move together. They never have, and they never will. VALE, this thing looked really good in here. I don't know. I don't know about how I feel about it up here. A little sloppy. Needs to finish building out in some kind of a clean way. All right, guys. Got to get my butt moving. I will see you guys next week. I'll probably be sharing some market thoughts even while I'm gone, but I won't be doing any recaps or any pre-market preps. I don't believe that'll be the case. So, unless the wife gives me like grace for a day, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, I will see you guys next week. You guys have a super awesome trading week out there, and I will see you guys in a few days. Trade them well, and thank you guys. I appreciate the well wishes. Photos coming, I'm sure. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.